life changed in so many ways at once. Has the day begun? I lived one life. As the day ended, I had begun anew, reborn with a new life, a new mission, reborn with a new vision. What may come, I don't know yet, but I am here alive, living my life to the fullest, with new love in my heart and soul, a gift to have, a gift to give, a new life of love, reborn.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday, November 20th, 2025. Luca and I, can you see that adorable little boy? He's sitting here eating his bone biscottis by the window. He's on the ottoman checking everything out. He woofed his bone in like 3 seconds. So he's a funny pupper. But I love this boy. He's my little couch buddy. He climbs right up next to me and he's warming my right side. And I've got my blanket because it's 37 degrees and it's a wee bit chilly for me. So I hope you're all doing well, those of you on the replay or behind the scenes. Please, please, please remember to like and subscribe. Karen, hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy you're here. I hope this is going to be a fun topic. I don't want to get too heavy all the time. Scotty boy. So nice to see you. And can't wait to see what you all are going to be doing. In this poll that I kind of put out about movies and the soundtrack of your life, like which one really hit you and made a difference. And so the inside of my house is not 37 degrees. It's outside that's 37 degrees. Inside is probably in the mid 60s. I don't have a lot of money, Karen. I'm stretching it as far as I can. And I need to hang in there at least until mid-December before I could try to get more oil. So it's about $400 for me for just 100 gallons. And that's at half tank. But anyway, so what else? So yeah, so it is chilly and I just came in a little bit ago from taking the dogs out for their last walk because it's dark and this is not the best neighborhood for me to be walking after dark. So they went out. They get to go out in the backyard if they have to, tinkle. But yeah. So, there's a lot of love going on here. A lot of love. I hope you guys are well. I hope wherever you are that you're enjoying life. Feel good comedy. I know. Is there one? So like if you were to pick like generationally, I remember musicals growing up. So I was born in 63. So really between 63 and 73, 63, 64, 65, 66, those ages, I couldn't tell you. But I do remember My Fair Lady later on and Hello Dolly later on with Barbara Streisand, but also Carol Channing. And if you remember her voice, she talked like shish. and she would say, "Hello, Dolly." It just cracks me up. And so those are just funny memories that I have. Richard's in the house. Waiting for Godot. That's a feel good movie for sure. um, but when we were kids, like Oliver growing up. Now, this is, obviously the late 60s. Um, so it's, this is not current day, and I'm going to put some of the current days in, but Echo is here, you guys. Whoop, whoop, whoop. She always throws me a loop when she comes in under a different name. And one of the other things that I really, really loved was Fiddler on the Roof. I'm such a Fiddler on the Roof girl. Sorry, my phone is talking to me. No one calls me all day. No one jingles or jangles me. And now it dingles. And then, of course, you have your typical like Cabaret and Jesus Christ Superstar, which was in the 70s. It was around 1973. And I was in Catholic school. And I remember I begged my mother to watch it. Now, I didn't know anything about Jesus Christ Superstar. I just knew it was Jesus Christ. And I was a young girl who wanted to be a nun. And my mom and I had a knockdown, drag out fight. I mean, we never yelled at each other. And she sent me to my room, and I couldn't watch it because it was a little bit, saucy for an impressionable 10-year-old. I was heartsick. Heartsick. I wanted to run away from home. I remember that voice. Oh, remembering Scotty. Hello, Shelly. Yes, hello, Scotty. Oh my God. If I could find that voice in my head again, I'd have to hear it. I could sing you just like she sang it. Hysterical. Karen says, hold on, let me get to Karen. And why am I squinting? Oh, these are my sunglasses. They're holding my hair back. Hold on. My favorite comedy of all time is Max Dugan Returns. Marsha Mason, I remember the movie. Matthew Broderick was a youngin'. Donald Sutherland, Hunka Dunka, and Jason Robards. Oh my God. Okay, I remember that. Why did I know? You love Barbara Streisand. I just, when it comes to musicals, yes, I'm a big fan. Later on, there's other ones, but I'm just curious. I always like to see what other people, what your experiences are. Like, in the 80s, I think it's the 80s, Say Anything with, oh my God, I'm going to draw a blank on his name, and I just had it in my head. And he's holding up, and he's playing Peter. Oh my God, I'm having senioritis. Scotty Richards, somebody from that time period. John Cusack holding up the boom box. Peter Gabriel. All right, it's coming. Say Anything. It's like dumbass movie, but it was a movie for the 80s. And, for girls, we all fell in love with John Cusack, because who wouldn't want, a boy standing outside your window holding up a boom box telling you, this heart-wrenching, lovesick, I see you, I love you, I want to be with you. It's funny what those kinds of movies do for you. And for me, that's one of them. Let me just, who else is on? Oh, Indigo is here. Yes, this is my little Lucacino, Luca. Biscotti is on the ottoman. Is he on the ottoman? Yeah, he's on the ottoman by the window. But he takes longer to eat his bones, so he's hanging out with Mama. I liked Better Off Dead. Yep. A Little Love. Oh. I remember that once you said holding up on a boombox. Yes, exactly. Um, and then I'm going to just say, hang on, movies with soundtracks. Just so that I can, yep, Luca and Biscotti. You know, I'm Italian. I gotta have them. But you know, if you think about The Godfather, right? You automatically you go someplace when you hear la di da di da di da di da di da di. You know, I mean, you go there, you know it, you can see it, you almost can smell the Italian sense in that movie, you know. Um, and then of course, you know, there are other movies that hit home. So that's why I'm What's Up Doc is another one. Yep. Yep, I remember that one. And if, let's see. Of course, people, The Sure Thing, another good one. And if you think about it, like, so if you go to the 80s, what do you have? Footloose. I'm not a Tom Cruise fan at all, but there was Top Gun, Flashdance. Oh my God, did I want to be Jennifer Beals? Only to be crushed when I heard that she did not do the dancing. I was just, I just thought I could do that. Music does link to memory very strongly. They use that a lot. Hold on, I got to pull it up. I can't squint. They use a lot in memory recovery for strokes and during early stages of memory loss. Yes. So, Indigo, what would be some of your favorites? Um, you are much younger than myself, so you've got to have a whole different, you know, element. Yep, An Officer and a Gentleman Echo. I remember that one. Um, Most of us girls remember Richard Gere picking up Deborah Winger. Um, and You did love Scotty Boy. Oh, I'm so glad you're having the best Thursday. That makes me happy. My all-time favorite soundtrack is from Stand By Me in the 80s. Yes, great soundtrack, a lot of oldies in that one. Um, Grease is another one, you know, and most all the boys I knew loved um, Olivia Newton-John, you know, um, and then you had girls sort of mixed between the bad boys and the good boys. I did like John Travolta, um, but it still wasn't my like he didn't melt me the same way some others did. The Way We Were with Barbara Streisand breaks my heart every time. And yet, what I loved about that movie is you can still have happy endings without that unrequited love being fulfilled, right? Because he found someone else. Purple Rain, Scotty, please don't hate me. Please still love me. I was not a huge Purple Rain fan, but I did see it. And I can admire Prince. Um, I did not swoon for him. Um, so what else can I see? I also, you know, so, and I'm going to ask you guys, so think about this, you know, um, if you had to choose, like, um, what movie, what would it say about you in your life? Like the Blues Brothers, come on. It was the early 80s with the Blues Brothers. Um, and it was just out of this world hysterical. So that's one of those that will tell you where my mind was. You know, and then you had The Big Chill. And I remember, you know, in the 80s thinking, oh, I hope when I get to my 30s, I have all these friends that I'm sitting around doing this with. And P.S., you know, there was another whole soundtrack to our lives by the time you hit your 30s. And um, it was fun. Casablanca, sure. Yep. I have yet to figure out why so many Gen Xers. Hang on, I'm gonna come back to this. I have yet to figure out why so many Gen Xers I know don't listen to new music and only keep replaying the oldies. That's a good question. Um, I think there's something nostalgic and familial to that music that is lacking in today's music. Just my, 2 cents. Um, but I'd love, like, is there the Warriors? Oh my God. I know that movie. I know that movie. Scared the bejesus out of me. Do you know I did not want to go to New York City because I had seen that movies? Warriors. Oh my gravy. That explains your life. Oh, I'd love to sit and have coffee with you someday and talk about it. Um, the Penguin. The Penguin. Oh, the Penguin. Well, I don't think I could tell you the soundtrack from that. Interesting. Scotty Boy. Christy McNichols. And then I have Indigo saying, growing up, my favorite bands were more 90s and 2000 alternative. Linkin Park, Evanescence, Offspring. I don't know Offspring. Um, Simple Plan. Well, okay. I'm trying to think of some. I am tail end of the baby boomers, and I did the same thing. I snubbed newer music after the 70s, but now I regret it because I'm so unfamiliar with the last few decades. Um, and Indigo says, I don't listen to much modern music. I grew up with the 60s through 2000, and I stay there pretty much. I mean, there are some new bands I like, but I've now gotten into more J-pop, K-pop, and Celtic folk. Couldn't be more different. So, oh my God. Scotty said, I was listening to Boston REO Speedwagon. Oh, right when I was coming on? That's great. I remember Boston. So you're the end of the boomers. I'm 63. I'm the end of the boomers. You finally progressed from the 70s to techno and alternative. So, being in college, I mean, I was exposed to things that I had lived a very sheltered life anyway. So my family played lots of music that probably most people wouldn't have listened to. But they were with my Nana loved Engelbert Humperdinck and Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass. And there was this probably Time Life album set of old country music that was old, and my dad loved country. He played the guitar and he loved Johnny Cash and oh God, what was his name? He was another hip swiveler. Tom Jones. Oh my gravy. So, but it was very I broke out to Blondie. That would have been like my explosion of sensuality and sort of a darker edge. And I was just coming into what it felt like to be independent. I loved Blondie. Yeah, so Scotty, some of these, I agree with you. There's some, I listen to some, but more often than not, the kinds of music I'm listening to now are more meditative. They have sort of a more relaxing beat to them because I'm so, I don't want to say high strung because I'm not really high strung per se, but I am impacted by this madness of the world. if I'm in the car and I'm driving someplace and I'm flipping stations and I hear something that I haven't heard before, I'll listen. A lot of it has more current country theme that it's not old fashioned country. And I love that. Um, I know Blondie, Blondie, Blondie. Oh my gosh. Somebody said, my mom taught me, hold on, what am I hitting here? Your mom taught me to like Helen Reddy music. Yes, so exactly. Helen Reddy, who sang Snowbird? Anne Murray, another one. So, that is generational. My nieces wouldn't know Helen Reddy, maybe because of the one woman song, but anything else they wouldn't know. Um, they wouldn't know Anne Murray unless somebody remade her song, right? So it happens a lot. Everybody thinks Whitney Houston did, I Will Always Love You. I fell in love with that song because of Dolly Parton. So, people are remaking Jolene. Well, sorry, Dolly Parton did that. You know what I mean? So, some of the older songs, when people remake them, I love them. But what was I watching yesterday? And someone said, um, do you remember Eric Carmen, All by Myself? And somebody else, Celine Dion did a remake. And they're like, well, Celine Dion's song, All by Myself. And I'm like, hello, people. So I have heard of Evanescence. Oh, there's a song by Evanescence that I love. Um, your dad liked classic 70s rock, grew up listening to 97.1 The Drive. Echo says, I listen to pop and the country. My ex-husband liked rock. My daughter and son-in-law like K-pop. I like contemporary Christian music. So some of the contemporary Christian music, amen and hallelujah, just uplifts you and makes you feel like you could touch God and talk to God. So I agree. There are some that are really, really great. So it's probably not a secret. I'm sure I've mentioned it. I'm a huge Chosen fan. And the Chosen had a Christmas special, and I got introduced to Matt Mayer and Brandon Lake and a couple of others that I had never heard of. And I'm standing up in front of the TV like, it's a revival. So there are songs that just bring me to my knees. Let's see. I'm squinting. Let me take my sunglasses off. And then back in the 80s, PC and Genesis. PC. Do you mean Peter Cetera? Grunge made me drop rock except for older bands for a while. So, there was in the 80s, there were some that wasn't my best decade. So certain songs I attribute to not good things. So I've disassociated with a lot of probably really fantastic songs, but they rip me to my core. So I can't listen to them. Doesn't matter how good they are. If someone remade them, maybe. But the voice of the singer sends me over the edge. Yet I could listen to Moody Blues until I turned blue. The Moody Blues, the melodic, even Zeppelin, if you think about it, Stairway to Heaven, they were stories, right? And you were I was, let me say me, I was just taken to a place that I didn't know existed, and I don't even know what that meant. All right, let's see. Whoops, what did I hit? Did I hit something? AI, American Idol, brought out a guy with potential, Chris Daughtry. Love him. He's great. Chris Daughtry, I really admire him. Doris Day. Well, so yes, if we're going back to movies, and I remember her from those days, yes, because then if we're really going to touch on it, I love Dean Martin and I love Frank Sinatra and I love Sammy Davis Jr. Those guys and their music and the entertainment factor. That's why when Richard mentioned earlier, why do people go back? There's that nostalgia. Michael Bublé did that not too many years ago. And he created sort of a variety show during the holiday. And we love, well, I shouldn't say we love that. I loved that. I even loved Donnie Marie when they had all the different variety show and actors and singers that would come on, and there was, they were exhibiting talent. And I don't know if it's appropriate for today, but back then it just brings you to a different time. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. I got to get back to my comments. I'm coming, guys. My mouse is stuck in this one spot. Music that just touches our souls. Yes. Genesis. Yes. The other guy who owned Phil Collins. Yeah. So I was a big Phil Collins fan as well. Both as when he was part of Genesis and when he was, on his own. And the same thing with Peter Cetera, right? Because he was part of Chicago. And that was the soundtrack of my late 70s into the 80s. And then he went on his own. And of course, I always loved Cher. For me, no one's taking Cher away from this girl. I've never been to a concert, by the way, but I don't know why I felt like I related to her. I had nothing in common with her, obviously, but I loved her. Yes, the frequencies go deep. And then King Crimson. Saw them live, and I've never heard more beautiful voice. Do I know King Crimson? King Crimson. Well, I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know. At least it's not standing out to me. But then, the other thing is I also loved towards the 80s, end of 80s into the 90s. Teresa, you just had it in your head. Oh my God, my God, my God, my God. Give me a second. It's a Latin band. And for Jiminy Cricket's sake, I have so many of their CDs. It'll come to me. I also fell in love with an actor who was a Latin actor, Ruben Blades, or Bloods, or however. And he had a beautiful voice. Why can't I remember the name? I'm telling you, this senior moment shit is really bugging me. Right after my divorce, I couldn't listen to a lot of my favorite songs. Absolutely. So certain musics just are trauma driven for me. Not even just bummer, trauma. And so, you got some of those songs you just got to write off in your heart. Indigo says, I believe music is a way to the heart and soul. It helps us connect with ourselves, each other, and creates memories. Yes, Blue Oyster Cult. I'm sure, Scotty, I know the band. I could not tell you a song. I'd have to hear it, and I'd probably go, who's that? And someone would say that's Blue Oyster Cult. It's not something that was in my everyday circle. But neither were the Rolling Stones when I was growing up. That was sort of my brother, my cousins. There were certain bands that I didn't listen to. My dad didn't think it was appropriate for me to listen to. It was very separate. Teresa got this, and all the boys could listen to this. So very different permission levels of music. Karen says Moody Blues have most of their albums, most of Led Zeppelin's up to the early 80s. Yep. Rat Pack, absolutely. Love the Rat Pack. And on occasion, when there's really crap on TV, I will go to YouTube and just plug in the Rat Pack and watch some of their variety shows. And I still laugh hysterically. The Don Rickles of the day when they would have him on, and or he'd be on Johnny Carson, right? I mean, still makes me laugh. And there were so many of those people, and today, and they were saucy for their time period, right? But I didn't feel like it was vulgar. And there's just some of that that just doesn't ring to me. Let's see. There's something about getting into the production that interests me now. How did they make that album, create the songs, and what were they experiencing when they wrote it? Well, and I think a lot of them were tripping on some really fun stuff. I've never done that stuff. Oh, Lawrence Welk. Every Sunday night, Echo with the bubbles. Some of those people were really good singers on the Lawrence Welk show. I absolutely loved Lawrence Welk. Is there anybody here a Renaissance fan? Not the era, the classical progressive rock band. Andy Haslam has the best voice. Well, no, but again, I'm going to look it up because I don't know it, or not as an awareness. Let's see. The Mandela sisters. Yep. Do you mean Barbara Mandel and her sisters, or literally the Mandela sisters? Some music is, I gotta put it up on the screen, sorry. Some music is and remains timeless because the messages are still relevant. It's how I find common ground with people outside my generation. Yeah, and so you're in this really great time of being able to extend backwards and forwards. You're kind of in the middle of an evolution of music that, you know, if you think about the Wham, right, at the time and some of that bebop music, I kind of liked it, but it never really resonated with me. After that point, I was like the mid to late 90s, totally my jam. Prior to that, in the early 80s, some of the music, because the movies used older songs, and they just recreated them or they used them exactly as they were, that's where I got my influences. But I was really sheltered. I mean, I grew up in Catholic school singing Catholic songs, and that was my reference for music until subversively people would say, oh, this band Chicago. And I'd be like, oh my God. You know, and I'd hear a song and I'd be like, oh, ooh, you know, like anything that was outside of what I was sheltered around, it really was something else. I got you, babe. I got you, babe. Let's see. You saw Phil Collins. Again, I really didn't see a lot of musicians. My first concert, oh, that would be nice to know. What was your first concert, guys? So mine was the Go-Go's, and Stevie Winwood opened for the Go-Go's. That's where I fell in love with Steve Winwood. Never heard of him before. And pure 80s. The Go-Go's, I could take them or leave them. It literally, Steve Winwood, there was this musicianship to his music. Van Morrison, and the other one that I want to, oh my gosh, same genre. Warren. I just had it in my head. Warren Zevon. Yes, I think it was Warren Zevon. So Robert Plant now makes music with Alison Krauss. Absolutely. Oh, Suki seen everybody. You crazy girl. Let's see. Crosby, yes, exactly. Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Neil Young, the band. Don't Fear the Reaper. Wow, I feel out of that one. I don't know that. Yes was one of my all-time favorites. Listened to them a lot, saw them 3 times. Echo says, I remember getting my first stereo system at 16. Oh, that would never have been allowed. Never in my house. My parents had a stereo system, and everybody, that's where you played your music. And you triggered me, though, when you said you got your stereo system and something popped into my head and it popped back out. It'll come back. Uh, Scotty says, "The house where the days to trip." Oh. I remember Lowe's. Never saw you never saw it. Just for shits and giggles, one of these days you should go to YouTube and just put in Lawrence best of Lawrence Welk. I think you would just chuckle. Um, but there really were some fun ones on there. Same thing with Echo. Who was the other guy? He used to have people on his show all the time. Um, Fudge Sickle. I can picture his face. I just can't remember his name. He kind of looked like Paul Lynde, the comedian from that time period. But all right, let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit so I can catch up. Teresa, search on YouTube for Mother Russia and listen to it with earbuds so you can hear her voice. Okay, I absolutely will. I ordered 3 albums from the magazine Pay on Deliver. They had an abbreviation for that. Love Sonny and Cher. Mom had to pay. I got grounded. Oh, let me tell you. So that was the one thing. So again, growing up, going to Catholic school, I didn't have money. If I needed clothes, my parents would buy it. If I wanted books, one of the things that they did in the Catholic school is your parents got was kind of like books to read for the summer or whatever. And my mom would let me pick 2 or 3 out. And that's, again, it was not something that I could just go out. There was not even a store where I lived where I could buy an album. You had to drive an hour to wherever the mall was. And I was never alone. So even when I went to high school, and it was a private school, but I lived local, so I was a day student. And I worked in the kitchen to pay my tuition. All the rich kids would say things, and I just kind of smile. I didn't, they probably said Blue Oyster Cult, and I did, oh, yeah. And then maybe if my brothers would want to share who one of these groups were, and they had interesting music. I don't know where they got their records from, to be honest, but they had them. And a lot of their friends that they hung out with, they all got to hang out and go to the mall and stuff together. I never did. And there were very few girls in my area. And there was no way my parents were letting me hang out with the boys and my brothers and cousins because they were all boys. And that just wasn't going to happen. It stopped after a certain age, and I don't even remember the age because then it was family, and I was the girl with the cooties, and don't do this, Teresa will get us into trouble, so let's see. Simple Plan at 15. They are a band I've been with since their first album, so your entire life. Wow. First concert, Savoy Brown and Uriah Heep. Oh my God, never even heard of them. C&K at the Waikiki Shell. They are a popular Hawaiian group. Cool. Warren Zevon. Werewolves of London. Loved it. Loved his voice. It's a haunting voice. Really, I loved it. And then somebody will know this. Playing Muscles for Michelle, something Muscles with Michelle by I can't remember. Fudge. All right, then Scotty Boy says Cecilio and Capono. Okay. Don't know. Marilyn Manson did Don't Fear the Reaper. My sister got her first stereo at 18. Wow. Tracy, you will recognize Don't Fear the Reaper for sure. Okay. All right. I believe it. I just, sometimes there are names that it doesn't do anything in the brain. You are too young for Lawrence Welk, Scotty boy. um, that just broke my heart. Scotty boy is so much younger than me. I will ask my friends to suggest albums for me to listen to and learn so much about getting the favorite song of it all. Yeah, I love this. Maybe during the village over Thanksgiving, we could have something like kind of name that tune, name your favorite band or, singer and from which genre, and what time period. And each of them means something, right? It's not like music shaped you when you're younger. Music I hear today doesn't shape me because I'm shaped. I've got my opinions and I may enjoy something, but it doesn't influence me in the same way as it did. I would say up to my 40s. But, just the last couple of decades, I've sort of settled into I know who I am. So I'm not necessarily reaching out for all of these other, like music helped me expand my knowledge and my horizons. It allowed me, I went with my friends to on vacation and I had never heard Bob Marley and the Wailers. And I was hooked. Like, oh my God, it was I I probably was Jamaican in a previous life. I just felt like it was this rhythm and it allowed me to listen to other musicians I never would have listened to and other kinds of music I never would have listened to. Um let's see. Yeah, I get a lot of music from movies. I mean, but most of the movies today, Karen, in my opinion, tap into the old movies, old music. There are some new songs and artists that are in these movies. You think about U2. They were really like controversial because a lot of crap was still going on in Ireland, right? And they were on the cusp of things changing. So it was really impactful to me. And I got to learn about the Troubles because I didn't know anything about what was happening really between Catholics and Protestants in Ireland. And YouTube sort of introduced me to that. But they also introduced me to kind of music I don't know if I would have listened to had I not been in college. Um, all right. Sawyer Brown. I remember Sawyer Brown. Bjork. Hey, don't knock Bjork. I know, cash on delivery. um, am I missing something here? Hold on. Yes, okay, cash on delivery. Bjork, yes. Although I probably couldn't name a song today, but yes. But the same would go for Amy Winehouse. Like I wouldn't have been introduced to her at a certain time period, but um there was this authenticity to her and her style that I really liked. Uh, she was a very troubled human. But that would also go for not Pearl Jam. I mean, I liked Pearl Jam. The one with Kurt Cobain, where he, had his issue. I was not particularly a fan per se until MTV used to do their live show and I loved it and I fell in love with them. And I fell in love with a lot of bands I never would have until MTV did their what did they call it? It was a live, but they called it something like unplugged. And I fell in love with a lot of bands that I wouldn't have previously because it was unplugged and you got to hear musicianship. Nothing bothers me more than someone abusing an instrument and it's not really being played. It's probably why I didn't really like heavy metal because I didn't feel like, I mean, you're yelling, you're screaming. If you're trying to get a message across, all I hear is want, 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 want. Eh. Don't shoot me though. If you love heavy metal, you're what you're entitled to it. It's just not my thing. Um, this says it's coming up. Why isn't it not showing? Moby is my favorite musician of mine nowadays. Listen to Deep Forest's first two albums, 10,000 Maniacs. Yes, loved 10,000 Maniacs when I was coming up. The Cranberries broke my heart when she Harry Nilsson. I wasn't as much of a fan of his, but um, I am currently a TWA member. There is no band that I have ever listened to that has affected me this way. I cannot go a day without The Warning. They are three sisters and they're incredible. We're going to be sitting down one of these days, girl. Teresa. Do not listen to Marilyn Manson's version of Don't Fear the Reaper. Okay. I am not that young. Just we were sheltered in Hawaii. Yeah, didn't have TVs. So yeah. Let's see. I love Bob. Oh, I know reggae. Peter Tosh, Jimmy Cliff. So I was introduced to the. Never would they have crossed in my lifetime, and so, and I have some friends that have very eclectic musical taste and introduced me to things that I never heard and then fell madly in love with. Even Billy Joel. I think I probably knew Mama Leone because, of course, I was the end of my Catholic school days. And then another friend of mine had just turned me on to them, and it was incredible. And I was not a big Bruce Springsteen fan until later in life. And that would have been the late 80s, early 90s that started, him in my, just being on a play list for me. Let's see. Karen says, I'm sort of confused how you watch Lawrence Welk. You should be. No, Lawrence Welk. I grew up on Lawrence Welk. I'm 62 and he was on every single Sunday. And I sat there at my nana's feet and the two of us would be watching him and he'd come out with his little baton and a one and a two and and then whatever. So, no, he was very much part of my life. I really loved him and the other guy who I can't think of. King Yellowman, don't know that one. That so much old music is being used or covered these days. Yeah, and I'm sure there's reasons for it, but it's probably the producers or the directors who are a little bit older, and there's something about whoever's curating the music are hearkening back to what resonated with them. And yet, when you hear some of the new Disney or animated movies from other companies, they're the ones that really start to create new soundtracks. So the younger generations have those songs that, I don't know. Let's see. Scotty's coming after Suki. Come on, Suki. Why is it not showing? You acknowledge as if you watch The Wheel Get Made. I never saw Sawyer Brown live, but I remember them. They were on Ed McMahon's Star Search. That's how I got familiar with them. Did not get into Army, LOL Scotty. Let's see. Screaming has hold on, where'd it go? Indigo says screaming actually has a technique to the action of screaming. When you do it correctly, you can actually hear words. There's something in my book, and that's fine. That it's just not something that I can appreciate at all. Now, I will say there is when I think of again, what band is Flea part of? Sometimes they were screaming, and yet they had other songs that they didn't, and I could enjoy them. And I remember when I first listened to the Goo Goo Dolls, there was a lot of screaming until the movie came out with Meg Ryan and they wrote that song, and I'm hooked on the Goo Goo Dolls, and they changed really how they write music and sing it. Let's see. Big Shot. Yeah, I know. Don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. I know. All right, let me keep scrolling down. Yes, I am 62. I am. Okay. TWA is the rabid, and yes, that is the right word for it, fan group. The Warning are affectionately known by their fans as Las Wawas. They have a YouTube channel and have lots of stuff there. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. We got gloves coming off. I got gloves on. Come on. Oop. Search. Hold on. Hang on. What is search? Zumba ba ba ba. Okay. I will come back and search for that. I'm not going to say it. And then Scotty says, not buying, but by Yellow Man, great reggae artist. He's an albino. Well, interesting. Indigo, do you like Disturbed? Yes, I do. Oh, I'm so glad. I just wanted to be more lighthearted, right? You know, it's like we sometimes talk really heavy stuff, and that's okay. But one of the things that I want to do is just really, we have more in common than we don't. And when we talk about music, I mean, we could talk soundtracks from musicals, and we could talk soundtracks from even horror movies. I mean, every genre and every type of movie inspires a reaction. And I mean, most of us, when we hear a certain, like Friday the 13th had a theme, and even E.T., you know, with John Williams, who I think is a prolific writer, creator, inventor, and his music engaged you into the experience of what he was doing, right? What you were watching. And he's not the only one, but right now his is the only name. But I could, yeah, Hans Zimmer, another one. If any of you have ever heard of Vangelis, another haunting one. And I had seen the movie with Mel Gibson and oh my God, what is it? Hold on, I've got to look it up. Hold on, people, because it will drive me crazy. What is it called? Hold on. And oh, The Year of Living Dangerously. The music for that movie. I have to find out who the musician was for that. Let me just see if I can scroll. Of course, it's not bringing me there. Of course not. All right, let me do this. Maurice Jarre, Jarre. If you haven't heard it, again, it's one of those soundtracks that are haunting. And that's what really grabs you. Jaws. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. um, all of those things, um, they are incredibly um, enticing. Yeah, Red Red Wine, another great song, Simply Red. Now, they're not the ones who originated it, but John Williams is the second most nominated person in the Academy history and has no special Oscar. Well, oh my God, WTF, Richard. Holy cow. Really? That's a crime, quite frankly, because he's really exceptionally talented. And I think he enhanced movies. Um, when I saw, again, it's a Steven Spielberg movie. It'll come to me, guys. I can't believe I am having so much. I'm sure I'm just tired. I had to get up early and I've been in the middle of something. And the actor's name, what was the actor's? Oh, all right, hang on. So let me just go here for a second. I'll be able to tell you in a heartbeat. Let me just get to his filmography and whoops. Oh, so Empire of the Sun was another haunting song. There was also, why am I having a complete and utter Schindler's List? Jeez Louise, people. I'm really losing it. But again, the color purple. Um, you think about Indiana Jones, right? All of these soundtracks engaged you. It almost put you on the edge of your seat. Like you knew something exciting was coming, or scary, or terrifying, or hysterical, or emotional. Terms of endearment ripped my heart out and just wrung out the blood and put it back in. So it's um all right, hang on. I want to just play catch up. Sorry, guys. Dun dun dun. I remember the movie Year of Living. It was a captivating title, but it was a captivating story. One of my favorite musicals, Annie's The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar. Yep. I mean, they're iconic and they shape people. Scary movie. Now, I know you're laughing, but it had music in it that would engage you in little snippets of sound. I Can't Live Without You. Oh. Dun, dun. All right, let me hang on. Indigo says, in addition, going back to Chicago, the choreography in Selbach Tango. Dance is another art form that gets to your heart and soul. Oh, that we could talk about that a whole nother time. Because Bob Fosse was another one of these geniuses who communicated everything through movement. And I loved when I studied dance. I loved the sharpness and the fluidity at the same time of movement. And music to it, absolutely. The tango, I never learned the tango. I never had a partner that way. But that would be probably on my bucket list if I ever got to try something out of the box. I'd love to be able to dance with a partner that way. I did try to take a dance class, and it was me and a whole bunch of women, and we're like, yeah, one male dance instructor. I'm like, let's cross that off the list. I mean, I love me women; they're great, but I don't want to be the leader all the time. I like to be led, and Empire of the Sun was a fantastic movie, and I love the soundtrack. Yes. Brain fart. I know. Scotty, I'm having too many brain farts. Just telling you. Schindler's List, not sure I would want the music even if it's good. I mean, again, it it was heart-wrenching, right? So it engages you. It helps tell the story. Um, I can't remember any songs from Indiana Jones. I don't know if it's songs, but it's music. It's the dun 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 dun. There are days where I'm like, I can't get out of bed, and I'm like, come on, girl, dun 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 dun, stretch that leg, stretch the other leg. I need to be encouraged sometime to get out of bed. And the dogs suck at it because they're just snoring away. Um, I've seen quite a few musicals at the theater. That is my love. I love that. I got to see many plays when I was in high school. I was like an hour and a half outside of New York City where I lived. And there was a train station that a whole bunch of us kids went to matinees. And I got to see the Pirates of Penzance. And I got to see Evita with Mandy Patinkin and Teresa. What the heck is wrong with your brain? Patty LaPone, um, who talk about like amazing, just amazing. Um, and I got to see Chorus Line a couple of times. And because I had an aunt and an uncle that insisted I get cultured because I was very not cultured. Um, so thank goodness. So I got to see a lot of shows. Um, let's see. Dinner theaters are great. Love dinner theaters. I don't think I ever saw Chicago in the theater. Um, and I missed, don't shoot me, Cats, but I love the soundtrack. I didn't get to see Les Mis either. I saw it on PBS, and pretty much every time it's on, I will watch it. Um, but I think it would have been too long for me. My parents got to see Hair in the theater, and my mother was like, and someone got naked. That was when somebody was naked. I love my mother. Um, let's see. And then I'll let you guys go. The only thing that I learned about the tango was getting scolded. It takes two to you crack me up. Me and my brother both got it. Oh, well, at least there was, companionship in getting your heads knocked in. A good CD for when you are angry at your boyfriend, '03 by Sunscream. Okay. I see you, Biscotti. Come up here and let everybody see you. Come here. Come on. Wow, you saw me. Yes, I did. I actually got to see Kevin Kline and Rex Smith and Linda Ronstadt in the Pirates of Penzance. And this is Biscotti. Are you going to say hi to the peoples? Or are you just looking for your brother's bone? He ate his bone. Will you come here and say hello? Who's like, no, mama. No, I want the bone. So the theater is an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste. When I was a little girl, my first exposure was my aunt who had 3 kids and my mom who had 3 kids. We all went to Radio City Music Hall. I want to say it was for Easter. And our first before you got to see the Rockettes, there was a movie, and it was the Three Musketeers with Michael York and I can picture their faces, Richard Chamberlain and the other actor. He was such a tough SOB in life as well as an actor. I can't remember his name. But yes, one of my favorite soundtrack music is from Northern Exposure, the TV show. I remember the TV show. I would have to refresh my memory. I don't know if I know any of those. But hello, little fella. I know I love my baby boys. They're my heartbeat. And my little girl's upstairs, my kitty, but she does not socialize. Only with me when nobody's around. So anyway, guys, thank you for being here with me. I just want to check the poll to see what you guys all came up with. Um, and it looks like, yeah, drama with an amazing soundtrack seems to have taken the main. Oh, I remember Sha Na Na. Oh, absolutely, I remember Sha Na Na. Um, Dinner theater's fun, but you have to go with somebody. I know you don't have to, but it's enjoyable to go with a friend or a group of friends, and it has to be something that's going to engage you for your first one. Otherwise, some of them can really suck, and then you're going to be like, I'll never do this again. So that's the only thing with dinner, Bowser. I loved Bowser. Um, you are so welcome. You guys. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. This has been a blast for me, and I needed it. Believe it or not, I have this pounding headache that I've had all day. And I'm like, do I want to go live? And I'm like, I'm going live. This is a great topic. I love music. So, put in the comments if there's something else about music we could talk about, or theater, or musicals, or just how they shape you, or anything. Because I loved to have this topic. I just think it's so much fun, and it says a lot about who we are, right? So, what did Karen say? They had a radio station with a DJ and called it Chris in the Morning, and he played very offbeat music. Oh, so I don't, I'm nowadays there aren't a lot of radio stations, and I refuse to pay for Sirius XM. Not that I wouldn't, but I'm on a serious ass budget. So um he's and what did you say? The guy also starred in my Greek wedding movies. Do you mean John? He's dating Bo Derek. What the hell's his name? Well, anyway. So yes, I am. We definitely aged ourselves. Yes, we did. But I think it's fun. And I think hearing somebody like Indigo, I don't know how old everybody is, but I know she's much younger than me. And so hearing her take on Indigo's take on music, and where that music comes from, and how one gets introduced to it. That to me is so much fun. Oh, we're just getting ready to hang up, Elizabeth. We've been talking music this whole time. I would have loved to have heard your take on it. But thank you for being here. And so we can I'm drawing a blank on John's last name. Corbett. John Corbett? John Corbett. Um, but it's Dudley Moore. Oh, Dudley Moore. And Bo Derek. Yeah, so again, another movie with great music. Um, I'm gonna go check out The Warning. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that myself. I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna scan through and see what you guys have said, so that I can also go look and check out some of the recommendations, because there are a few that I don't recognize, but like Karen said, if I hear it, I'm probably going to go, oh, of course. So anyway, thank you guys. I'll see you on Tuesday. And then obviously Thanksgiving, we're going to be doing The Village. So I'm trying to think of something creative to do, because again, I want it to be light and fluffy and fun. So maybe I'll talk soundtracks. And pardon me. And so let's see what we can come up with, but I will take your recommendations. So you guys, I love you so much for being here. Thank you so much. This was really fun. And I feel uplifted. So Thank you all. Have a wonderful night, rest of the week, and I'll see you
I'm like an ice skater dancing out
guys.
for the first time on the form solid ice. No more fears, no sorrows, because I love the common tomorrows. This life has barely begun, but now I know what I want to do. I know what I want to be, reborn. Finally feeling I am fulfilling my destiny, with a heart filled of gratefulness, happiness, joy, overflowing of kindness and love. Oh, so much love. I feel like love is the supportive pillar